Hi, Jay Frederick Smith here, Continental Realty of Jackson. Today we're at 4023 Skycrest Drive. I said in my approach video portion that this was a townhome. That actually is the next property we're going to, not this one. Sorry about that. Slight mistake. This is a mid 50s to early 60s block house, off grade. Off grade meaning it's not on a slab, it sits up off the ground. You can tell because of the vents in the front there that you can see. If you look right there, those vents, that means that there is a space under the floors, and that's what off-grade means. So I thought it would be nice before we go in to take a look at kind of what the neighborhood looks like, so you can see what your street looks like, the other homes on it. You know, to get a feel for your neighbors. If you ended up buying this house, you certainly want to know what the neighborhood looks like. The street is a nice, quiet, peaceful street. It's not a dead-end road or anything, but it is a quiet neighborhood, which I like. The house itself is a smaller, like I said, block home, off-grade, with a little covered patio, some lights out front, and it looks like original windows, at least in some places. But we'll get to all that here in a minute. Let's just take a quick look around the house first. Now, there is no garage, there is no carport, okay? So that's unfortunate, but there is a big driveway, big enough that you could easily fit 2 or 3, if you look here, 2 or 3, probably, you'll probably fit more than that. Because it's a double driveway, you could probably fit 3, 5 cars in this driveway if that's what you needed to do. Maybe even 6 if you stuffed them in there, which is quite a lot. The front is a nice sized yard with some kind of a little tree with some suckers coming up that need to be trimmed back. These branches all need to be trimmed back. This tree just needs to be trimmed back. It's close to the house. My opinion of a tree close to the house is that it needs to go. You don't need to have any trouble, you know, with your tree. Now, it looks here like this is a gate, but that's an illusion. Although those hinges are there, there is not actually a gate. It is just a new fence. It's fenced all the way across. Maybe it would swing back towards the back, but there's that little tree in the way, so that is not going to happen. I think we'll check the other side too. But what I'm seeing here on the outside of the house is that some of the windows have been replaced, although this is not new work by any stretch. These are vinyl frame double pane windows, which is great because that really helps to keep the heat and the cold in the summer in the house. Unlike these original, what is this, 16 panel window here. Zoom out a little bit. 16 panels. These are all single pane. This is a wrought iron frame. It is not plastic or anything else. It's wrought iron, hinged. So then you could throw these windows open in the summer and let a breeze in. The problem is, though, that this glass is really thin and the heat just goes in and out of it. It's as if it's not even there. So these guys really should be replaced with some nice vinyl pane window as well. The double pane vinyl window would be beautiful. It doesn't even have to be vinyl. It could be anything really. And you might even be able to get one that has this kind of look to it. But replacing that window is going to save you some energy. And that's always a good thing in my opinion. If you wanted to clean this up and bring it back to original, you could probably do that pretty easily. It doesn't look like the windows are in bad shape. It's just that they have not been, the glass has not been installed correctly. I can actually feel the edge of the glass here because they've been installed with silicone, unlike the way they're supposed to be. And where they did start to install them correctly, they didn't do a nice job of it, so this looks pretty bad. The metal itself is buried under lots of paint and debris, but you know, you could pull this off and put some paint remover on those hinges and get them to look nice if that's what you wanted to do. But once again, my feeling is a old window like that, you know, unless it's a historic building, really should be taken out and newer windows put in to save you some money. and it will. The little porch, concrete porch here, I can see where we've got some kind of a little bit of a separation issue. If you look, there's a crack that runs along the slab, I guess, of the deck, and then up this wall. And you see that? Okay, so what you've got here is where there's been some settling. I doubt very much that this is new. It's probably been there forever. But when you have settling cracks like that, even when it follows the seam, you know, you need to do something to seal those up, if nothing else. And it would probably be a good idea also just to watch it and see if it does in fact get bigger. Probably not on a house this old. Really would be unusual to see a house this old have settling cracks that lasted any length of time at all. So let's see if we can get into the backyard here. I'll just move this trash can out of the way. There is a gate. Okay, so going around the back, we've got a couple of different colored gray paint that's been painted on the wall, or maybe it's the same and it's just been painted over some moss or whatnot. There used to be, looks like a window up above here that was sealed up, and once upon a time, we've got some more settling cracks as well. And you know, once again, this is just a standard for this kind of construction, especially the age that it is. You're going to have those settling cracks. Okay, the backyard is a good size. This is actually probably bigger than many of you might be interested in. I'm not going to walk all the way back there because it's really wet out today. I see a vent or something like that out there a ways, which might mean that we're on a septic tank. And this is kind of the neighborhood for that, so I would bet that we've got a septic tank out here. There's also a concrete slab way back there. If you look, you can see the edges of it here. And there is a chain link fence that runs around the property that seems to be in good shape, actually. Well, I think this was probably a dog run once upon a time. But you could also use it for hanging clothes. Clothesline is really helpful here in Florida in the summer. Save you some energy on your drying bills, right? So I guess what I would say is the yard needs a mow and it needs a little cleanup. That slab could probably be put to use for some kind of a shed if you were interested in that. But it is a pretty good sized yard here. So if you are interested in a bigger lawn, this one is not bad. I don't see crawl space access, but there is this little vent here, and that gives you an idea of how high up off the ground the floors are. They're really pretty high up, maybe 3 feet, which actually is probably a good thing if there's any kind of flooding that happens in this area. That's not necessarily the case, but if there was, it would be a good thing to have your floors up higher to save them. The soffits and the eaves here all look like they're in pretty good shape. I don't see any water damage or anything. Doesn't look like anybody's been hiding anything. It looks like it's just been well taken care of. The back deck has some cracking, but that's typical, with some vegetation growing in the cracks, which is also typical. The deck rails are okay. The age and the cracking on the posts is not a problem, actually. That post is nice and solid, even though it shows some cracking there. And if it worries you, you can use some wood putty to fill that in. Just use the waterproof wood putty and then repaint it, because that's what this rail really needs, is some paint. Now, why the T111 siding is on the back here in just this one place, I don't know. I would have to say that it must have been open at one point in time for some reason, and they put the T111 over there to seal it up. Who can say? But maybe we get an idea when we get into the inside. The back windows, 2 of them anyway, look like they are newer, but there is another window here in the back that is the old style single pane iron wrought frame window that probably should be replaced, you know, if you buy this house when you have time. Now, this house is priced in a way that it takes into account these older windows and other older features, okay? So probably not gonna be able to request a reduction in in price for that reason specifically. Just so you know. Also, we've got some outlets, or at least an outlet here that is uncovered on the outside, and that really needs to be in a covered box. So it's not hard to take that little exterior box off and put an outlet like that in an outside box, and it really does need to happen for safety. You know, when it's raining, you don't want water running into your outlet, and boy, oh boy, would it be bad if that happened. Okay, well, wouldn't necessarily be bad, it just could be bad. Let's get up to the front door and get a look at the inside of the house here. And I'll see you inside in just a minute.